How's it going, you guys? It's the day before Thanksgiving and I've got a few things around the property that I want to do really quickly, and it is kind of digging up a few plants that I'm considering free plants. I mean, technically they're basically free at this point. So I've got a few things I'm going to dig up. We had all of the flower field here last year, or I guess this year. It wasn't last year, it feels like last year. We had the flower field here this year, and I'm seeing certain things pop up in the lawn and I want to save them. So I am seeing some scabiosa pop up in the lawn, and I'm seeing also, so in this bed, you can see like the flower bed was like from there to there, and in this area I had planted euryngenium and I didn't get all the roots out, and so it shot up some new growth. So I've got some popping up there, I've got some popping up there, there. There's 3 of them popping up there, 1 there. They're kind of coming up everywhere. So I'm gonna try to dig up as many of these as I can. I'm sure that the roots are gonna be pretty thick on these, and I'm gonna try putting them into containers. I loved having euryngenium in the garden this year. It's a really, really pretty flower, and I would love to grow it on again for next year. It was really easy to start from seed, but I don't have any more seeds. And so if these are already starting to come up, I might as well see if I can dig them up, put them in containers, and bring them inside. And then I also have some scabiosa that's coming up. Let me show you guys that. So euryngenium was here and scabiosa was here. And it dropped a whole bunch of seeds, and they're coming up pretty much everywhere. And so I'm gonna see if I can dig some of these up and grow some scabiosa. I just think that it'd be nice to get a huge head start on this. And then I also have some coleus and some African violets that you guys had seen me take cuttings of, and I should have potted them up like a long time ago. But I didn't pot them up, so it's time to pot them up. So basically today is like getting a whole bunch of free plants, and I need to find space inside for them to go. Before we get planting, let me go over what I have. I have these little, I think these are like 2.5 inch trays or something like that, or cells. These are from Bootstrap Farmer. You can see there's their logo. I like them. They're a little bit hardier of a plastic, so they don't like crumble or anything. I use Bootstrap Farmer for pretty much all the like seed starting stuff. That's what these trays are also. And they do have inserts. I just didn't buy them when I was buying all of my like my seed order. And I do need to wash all these, but I'm not going to. But they have inserts that go in here that these fit into perfectly, but I just didn't buy them. But you can still set them in here, and it's not like that big of a deal. They just kind of like wobble a little bit, or like the inserts of these have like little plugs that they go into so they don't wobble at all, which I do kind of like also because I do a lot of bottom watering, and so like I would be able to put that tray in here and fill the bottom up with water, and then let it soak up as much moisture as it wants, and then pull the top tray out. I didn't do it. I didn't buy them. I have so many of these, and so many of these. I think I have like 500 of these, which is a little bit insane. And then I have my cuttings. So these are the African violets, and they have been dying to get out of the water. Look at this one, has created a whole baby right there. So these guys are so ready to get out of the water. They'll be coming out today. And then my coleus, which is really funny because I actually had mosquito larvae grow like inside the water. Let's see if there's any in there right now. I've been emptying it daily to try to die down on that. But these guys are very happy and healthy. You can see everywhere that they were in water started to grow all the roots along the stem. So these guys I'll bury, and I'll bury them all the way up to right here, because you can see there are some roots growing out right there also. So these will get buried in these plastic containers, I guess that deep actually, because that's as deep as that container will let it go. But very healthy roots. These have been in the water probably a little bit too long. And then what I do need to do when I put them in the soil is I'm going to come in and pinch them off probably about there. And if I was crazy, which I am, and I might be, I could propagate the top half of these. But that'll give me a like fuller, bushier plant. If I come in and cut this top off, it'll start branching out down below, which I probably should do. And then I have my little trowel to dig out my plants that are throughout the lawn. So let's get started on digging those plants out. And I think I'm gonna just take one of these trays over here and drop everything directly into this tray. So let's go ahead and do that. I've never had to film this low to the ground, but there's a whole bunch of euryngenium right here. There's one here and a whole bunch along here and kind of tucked in through back here. And I'm just gonna try digging these up and see how much of the roots that I can get. This is all that they were attached to, is one little teeny tiny root. So I'm gonna try and see if I can get these to do something. And I'm gonna dig up a few more. Some of these didn't have anything on them, so these guys won't make it. Let's fill this hole back in though. See, this one has a pretty good root on it actually. I would love if I could get like 5 of them. That would be pretty cool. This one's developed like little legs. Well, we got way more than I thought that we were gonna get out of that area. So I think the Scabiosa is going to be super easy to get going. They still have some pretty good roots on them. I'm a little bit nervous about the Euringium. So it looks like Euringium has a taproot. It looks like maybe they're related to some kind of root vegetable, probably like a carrot, and things that have a taproot like the Euringium has here really don't like to be disturbed like this. So we will see. I'm not seeing any of the like aerial roots on it. I'm just seeing the main taproot. So this is going to be an experiment. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to fill a whole bunch of these up with some soil and get them started in this tray right here. If you're a smart person, you'll clean your stuff after you use it for a season. But I am not a smart person. So I am just asking for disease to be spread through all of these cuttings. But I didn't have any disease this last growing season. So we're just gonna roll with it. We'll see what happens. It's fine. We're just gonna go with it. I'm gonna fill a whole bunch of these up. I don't remember how many I can fit in a tray, but it's 4 across by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 deep, 32 in one of these little trays. So I think one tray is probably going to be Scabiosa and the Euringium, and then another tray will be Coleus and the little African violets, which I won't have 64 plants. That's absurd. So let's fill these up. Okay, we've got these filled with some soil right now. And next step is to just start popping these in here. I'm just gonna go in with the Euringium and see what happens. This is all just kind of a test of luck. Some of the roots on these are really long, so we'll see how they handle being transplanted. I do not think that it's gonna like it, but I think it's worth a shot. And I'm gonna top that up with just a little bit of soil. Okay, and here's to hoping that that works. Let's do the rest of these. Some of these will be real easy to just pop the holes in, pop these guys in there just like that. Some of them are gonna be a little bit harder, like that first one, or like these really big ones. This one's gonna be a little bit tougher. So how I ended up with all of this Euringium was we had that field of Euringium, and I ended up digging almost all of them out because I was going to transplant them, and the roots on those ones looked more like kind of like an octopus. It was really weird. They kind of like spread out, but I'm noticing these ones are growing straight down. So I'm thinking what I did was I accidentally left a part of the root inside of the ground. And those little bits of root that I left decided to just push growth. So it'd be really cool if we got a whole bunch of free plants out of this. I mean, 2 years of plants. Okay, so I'm gonna finish those in just a second, but I'm gonna move on now to the Scabiosa. These ones are gonna be a lot easier because they have all of these like fibrous roots down here, and these guys should just easily plop into the holes, and these ones should take off no problem because there's a lot of root left on those. And I had 4 different colors of Scabiosa growing in the garden this year, and so it'll be interesting to see if these make it, and if they do, what color they are. I don't know a whole lot about how Scabiosa works, whether it's like cross-pollination or if they come back true to variety, because we had 4 different colors. We had the Scabiosa Fatia Morgana, we had Scabiosa Black Knight, Dark Beauty, and there was another color that we had. It was a pink color, and I don't remember. I loved the pink color, and I'm sure all of these Scabiosa that are here ended up coming up from seed because there was so much seed that was like falling off of the plants. So I knew that there was going to be Scabiosas coming up in the lawn, but I just didn't even process that I might be able to dig some of these up and save some of them. So we're gonna see if this works, and it'll be really cool to see if, if they come back the pink color or the purple color or black or whatever they might be, or if I just invented a whole bunch of new varieties of Scabiosa. Either way, I won't be mad at it. This gets me really excited for next year's growing season to see what happens. This is way more plants than I actually even need. I think this year we grew 36 Scabiosa plants, and that was a bit much. That was way too many plants. These are way easier to pot up than the Eryngium. Oh my goodness. That was actually perfect. Wow. I have 2 more plants left and 2 more pots left. Obviously, this one was very happy. Wow. Okay. Scabiosa, very easy. The Eryngium, while there's a ton of roots on them, I am not feeling the best about these. I do feel like I'm wasting my time. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm already seeing these kind of wilt a little bit, and they just look rough. They're not wanting to fit in these pots. This is going to be an experiment for sure. But some of these just look so funny. I'm going to have to top each one of these up with a little bit more soil because this is not enough. Some of this has absolutely insane growth on the top of it, but just this fat little nubby root. So it'll be really cool to see if I get anything, but I don't know. I think it's worth it. I'm not doing anything over the winter anyways, so if I got free plants and I get that big of a jump start on the growing season, could you guys imagine? That would be amazing. Like this, I feel like I need to cut the root off of this, but I don't want to cut the root off, but this does not fit. I need to cut off some of the root. Oh, I should not do that. That's all right. It's okay. Has to happen, right? I'm gonna have to top all of those up. Like, this one is a jumbled mess. This is what they all looked like when I was digging up the roots. They all looked like octopus, a whole bunch of like these, but they were much fatter little tentacle roots. And they all originate from this one root that's a little bit thicker right here. So I think if any of them make it, this one definitely will. I should probably pull the grass out of it. We don't need to grow grass. Oh, aye. This one, because it's so fat, I'm going to put it in an empty container and I'm going to just fill it up inside the bucket that's down here really quickly. That's probably the way I should have done all of these, but whatever. We've already committed. And I do think that like maybe one like this, look at this. It's got some like chew marks out of it or something. It's really, really weird. These 2 little notches. I wonder what's up with that. But these look like carrots. But it has a little bit of growth, so I'm going to try it. We'll see what happens. Some of these that I saved, I'm not even going to actually try. I've got 3 more pots. I've got 1, 2. Okay, so usually the rule of thumb when like planting things up that, yeah, I know this one looks the best right now, but I'm thinking this one will probably have the hardest time taking off because there's no actual like fibrous roots that it's pulling up the moisture. So it's gonna have to grow all new roots while trying to sustain all of its life up here. And I know that. I know I shouldn't even try with this one because it looks the best. Usually the ones that look the tiniest, like this one right here that has like the little tiniest amount of growth in it, is the one that's probably going to do the best because it has very little life to sustain until it can pick up new energy. But I just can't help planting the 2 that look the best. So we're going to try it, but I won't be surprised. I will just be sad if the 2 that look the best don't make it. But I'm going to do the same thing that I did with this one over here, and I'm going to just take those and fill them up in the pots over there. Okay. There is, what is that? 16 of the Eryngium and 16 Scabiosa. These are going to go under the grow lights until I can see lots more activity, and I'm going to pop them out of their cell trays every once in a while and just test and make sure that everything is going accordingly. And once I see that they've totally outgrown these, then I'm going to go ahead and pot them up. They're going to need to be potted up for sure, especially the Eryngium with how like big some of these roots are. They're definitely going to need it. Did I not put one in here? Oh, Robbie. Who looks the best? Who looks the best? You do. So these are going to go under the grow lights though for quite a while. They'll actually stay under the grow lights until the growing season next year starts. So they have months to go under the grow lights, and they're going to get fertilized just like everything else. I probably won't start fertilizing them for at least maybe a month and a half. I'm not trying to get them to put on too much growth right now. I'm just trying to get them to survive because this is very, very early to be doing any of this. But I know that if we get a night that hits 32 degrees, it would wipe all of these out. So I decided to come out here and see if I could get some free plants. So 1 tray done. I have a whole bunch of the Eryngium left in here, but these ones all like the roots are way too long, or like this one right here, it looks like it's like split in half. It's not very good at all. And some of them don't even have really anything on the top. So this is all just trash right here. Last thing we're going to do now is the Coleus, which really, really needs to be potted up. They look really, really beautiful. And the African violets, they need to be potted up. So let me move this tray and set up, and I'll show you guys all about those. Okay, so I have very few plants of the Coleus and the African violets. You can see my African violets are actually not looking that healthy. I didn't fertilize them one time, and they've been in water, and so have my Coleus cuttings for months now. So they're not very happy with me about that. They should have been getting fertilizer. I didn't do it. You can see like this one is kind of like starting to fizzle out a little bit, and how like yellow these ones are right here. So that's not a good sign. But it's going to be okay. I did end up fertilizing them like 2 days ago, and you can see like the water, the algae that's in the water totally took off and started growing like crazy. These guys are going to be very happy to get out of that water. So with these, you can see that they've started to all grow lots of roots, and from those roots, little babies are going to pop up, and those little babies look just like this. You can see the little baby right here was actually probably attached to one of these right here, about like that, and it probably just popped off when I was pulling it out, but it did start growing its own roots. So this is a new happy, healthy plant. So for that, and this has actually been underwater the entire time. This hasn't come out of the water since it started growing. So we're just going to take a little hole, pop that in there. These are one of my favorite plants to propagate. My mom got me super interested in them. And I won't be surprised if some of this dies back. African violets are a little bit finicky. I after this stage, they really don't like to have water on their leaves. So this isn't going to get watered from the top. It's only going to get bottom water. They actually come with like very special containers. They're African violet containers, and it keeps the water off the leaves. So for these ones that have the leaf still attached that I'm not seeing any babies on them, I'm going to take it and I'm going to lightly bury it. It's not buried very deep, and it's just going to look like a random leaf sticking out until I see new foliage coming out of there, and then I will cut back the main big leaf. So we're just going to go ahead and do that with these guys really quickly. Pop those in there, lightly covering them. Super easy. That's not deep enough. And it looks so funny just having a random leaf sticking out of these containers, but I swear that they will grow. This one I can actually see a baby growing right there, so that's pretty cool. So I know this one's gonna start doing something here very soon. So we're just gonna lightly cover it. It's not planted very deep at all. And bam, that's all we're gonna do for that. Now let's move on to the coleus, which is one of my favorite things to propagate. It's so easy, and they're so pretty. They're such beautiful plants. I don't have a whole lot of them. This is the wasabi coleus. You can really do this with any coleus at all, but just know that some coleus are patented, which means like you're not supposed to do it, but that really goes more for growers and not so much for home gardeners. You know, if you're growing and you're taking, 5 or 6 cuttings, whatever. I don't think that big companies are going to come after the home gardener for taking a few cuttings. These ones though, I'm not pre-filling this because they're so long, and I want these to be planted as far down as possible. So I'm going to just pop them in here like this, and then I'm going to fill them up with soil in the bin down below. So we've got our first one done, super exciting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let this root in for a little while, and I'm going to come through it and I'm going to pinch it. I'm going to leave 2 sets of leaves, so we'll have this bottom set down here, and then we'll have a second set right up here, and I'm going to pinch this off. And what that's going to do is encourage branching. So it'll throw branches from the sides here and from here, and then I'll get a nice full plant instead of a single stem of a plant. And that's going to buy me more time while I keep these inside, because they're going to be inside for quite a while. So pop that just like so. Let me show you guys one on camera. So we're just going to take our plant, pop it down in there as far down as I can get it to go, and fill up with soil. And I'm going to tamp it down because I do want the soil to be a little bit tighter down there. You do want to be careful though that you don't break off the roots, so you're not going to push it down super tight. We're just lightly tamping down the soil into these containers. If you pop off the roots, you're starting over propagating it. So there we go. And these guys are going to actually take off extremely fast now that they're in potting soil. So that's why I want to make sure that I, get them in here and then get them pinched here pretty quick. This one is probably a little bit too tall. I did take extremely long cuttings, which I shouldn't have done that. Whew. Okay, free plants, here we go. So we have 8 wasabi coleus, and we have 6 of the African violets. We have 5 of the African violets. Maybe 4. So these guys are also going to go under the grow lights until I see a ton of growth. The ones that are the African violets, when I start to see growth and they all look like this, in their own containers, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pot them up into more permanent pots, which will be like the African violet style pots. We have one of them currently, and it makes watering so easy. Basically, the roots grow so long and so fast that it's got a water reservoir underneath, and I water the African violet once a month. We fill it with water. It's so easy. It's so nice. It's one of the easiest houseplants, low light, no problems. The coleus, If I wanted to, I could keep it as a houseplant for quite a while inside, which is really nice that we would be able to do that. But I prefer growing them in the landscape. And so what I need to do though, when growing these inside, I need to give them room. I grew a ton of them last year, and they were way too close. They were all close like this, and I had an entire tray of 36 of them, all touching each other, and they looked beautiful from the outside, but in the inside, they all looked bare like this right here. So I only got top growth, none of this interior growth at all. So I'm gonna have these guys be spread out when I bring them inside. It'll be really easy because they're not going to be touching each other, and I don't have to worry about it shaking. So that way these guys can all really branch out and grow and be nice, full, healthy plants by this summertime or this springtime. They're not going to wait till summertime. They're not even going to wait till springtime. They're going to be very frustrated with me here in probably about 2 months' time. So I think that's going to be it for this video, you guys. I'm going to go inside. It's the end of the day. The lighting is awful right now, and the rooster is mad. So that is gonna be it for this video. I always love getting free plants, especially free plants that came directly from the garden. So easy. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.